Okay, welcome everybody to the 13th Spanish-speaking knowledge seekers workshop of the Kesh Foundation. And this week the topic will be GANs in agriculture. And we have a little presentation from the Mexican group, the on GANs in agriculture and what some of their plans are, and they want to consult with Mr. Kesh, etc., as they will explain. Mr. Kesh, would you like to start, and we can move into the workshop here?
Yes. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, as usual. We wait for the surprises which the Spanish group will have for us. Would you like to tell us what you have and what, if there is anything we need to understand or learn from you?
Enrique, do you want to take it away there?
Ya. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches a todos los que están escuchando. El señor Kesh se saluda y nos dice que quiere escuchar lo que el grupo mexicano tiene como sorpresa para presentar. Y eso es lo que vamos a hacer. Enseguida hay una presentación, nos dice Rick, que fue enviada y la vamos a seguir. Está en español para que quede así grabada y lo vamos a leer en inglés. Yo lo voy a leer en inglés y con Eric también y su ayuda. Gracias, Eric. So, let's go ahead. Ready, Mr. Kesh?
Go ahead, listen.
Yeah, I've got the first slide, the proposal for performing experiments lined up there now on live stream. It should come through now.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, I have to go to the live stream. Because I don't have the screen here. I have to get it.
Is somebody monitoring what is get written on the forum, on the what do you call it? Live stream, yeah.
We usually have a couple people that are monitoring. Is there a problem there that you see, or
No, it's just that it's coming. It's just that we monitor. Sometimes we get people who like to write nice things, so we let them write it in their own time.
Yep, if anybody sees that, please let me know and we can take action. How's it going, Enrique? Are you getting the live stream feed up?
Yeah, I'm going into it.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry, I didn't think we'd need it.
Vince is gone, and we have nobody behind the background.
No, I think Vince is here.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you need?
Nothing, it's just that somebody got a... Oh, it is there. Okay, I'm back on. Okay, can you carry it away, or what is happening?
We're just waiting for Enrique to get his live stream set up so he can see the images in his presentation.
And we got stuck at 5:21. So we renew. Anybody for a coffee?
I can try to do
Okay.
You ready
Okay.
there? You have some.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Keshi, I will start. This is the proposal for performing experiments with GANs in tropical plants and in food crops. There are two parts. It is presented by Lemuria Conocimiento to the Keshe Foundation, asking for counseling and guidance for its carryout and supervision. We are very eager to go into this application because we have learned how to produce GANs, and we see that this can be one of the best applications we can follow for several reasons, because it can be very direct and of wide use with the purpose of helping the low-income people, who is a lot, and they live mostly on agriculture, and they have very little or very low productivity in many cases. And if we understand correctly, the GANs can be of great help as let's say, not just improving, but as a super fertilizer, I would say, to help the people get better results in what they do. And that is very direct in the main topic that serves them, which is the food, the food availability for them.
Can you translate this?
Also, we think that it is good for jungles, jungle recuperation, and fortunately, we want to take advantage that Gabriel Santoyo, who's my son, who lives in a tropical area in Cancun, is related to it, as you are gonna, I'm gonna read now, and you are gonna see. So, and then also, in the second part, yes.
Let him finish and then you translate. He knows what he said, I think. Carry on.
Le acabo de explicar al señor Keshi
que... explain secondly what? You were saying secondly what?
Excuse me?
You said secondly, there was a second point you wanted to
raise. Yeah. The second part is coming in the slides. And the second part is another relationship that one of our members has in the central part of Mexico with an indigenous group, one of the most important and old indigenous groups, the Otomis, and one of the groups, because there are 500,000 of them, but they are spread all over the country, and all of them are living in very low income condition also, as we know from the conquer and colony. And those are different ecological situations, and those are different problems, because one is related with the interest in the environment of the jungle, and the other one is mostly interested in the food production for these people. And it's in a semi-arid region. So there are two different social, economical, and ecological conditions, and crops, obviously. And I think we can tackle both with different approaches, because one is very related to the social conditioning. We want the people to learn to do it. And the other one is very free. It is depending on greenhouses that are managed by my son.
Okay. Do you want to translate and I'll tell you what's happening?
Okay. Expliqué al señor Keshi que la presentación que estamos haciendo es sobre la aplicación de la tecnología Keshi, en particular del uso de los GANs, que ya sabemos hacer, en la agricultura, porque creemos que es una aplicación que puede tener una gran trascendencia en México y en Latinoamérica en general, porque tiene la posibilidad de servir en el propósito de mejorar las condiciones de vida de las gentes que están en condición de pobreza, que dependen mucho de la agricultura. Ese sería el enfoque, no la agricultura industrial. Y por otro lado está también el interés ecológico de ayudar a la recuperación de selvas que se han maltratado tanto en el trópico mexicano, pero también en otras partes de Latinoamérica. Y tenemos la posibilidad, porque hay dos miembros del grupo, uno que vive en el trópico, en Cancún, cerca de Cancún, y otro que vive acá en el centro de la República, en donde tiene una relación muy directa con un grupo indígena otomí, que es un grupo muy grande, más de 500,000 de gente esparcido en muchos estados de la República, pero que trabajaremos con uno que es de montaña, uno que tiene condiciones que son muy similares también para muchas partes de toda Latinoamérica en condiciones de montaña y de pobreza. That is the idea. Okay.
Okay. First of all, let me explain to you something very interesting.
Sure.
The Latin indigenous communities were the first group of human race, in a way, who understood the work of a GANs and the nanomaterials centuries ago. And somehow they have lost the knowledge, but they still partially using it. I don't know why and how this has happened, but if you look exactly what you said, the soil in the indigenous area is not very good. Look at the areas, Bolivia, part of Brazil, into Chile, where the original indigenous people were, or partially. Look at how they lived and what they did. In the present science, the way we are teaching, we create a high temperature to release the atomic structure, to create a GANs, to create a nano layer, then to release it to become a GANs. The indigenous Americans, South Americans, when they burn wood for cooking, wherever they sprayed the ashes, rough ashes, not the powder, even the powder ashes, they noticed they are creating and growing vegetables in a totally different way. Wherever even they couldn't grow, was growing. Because when the wood is burned in that state, they were burning, creates a nano-layer GANs composition, which absorbed all the nutrition from the air, from the rain, from the water, from atmosphere, and it fed to the plants. If you go back to the indigenous area, original indigenous area, you find farming area on the black soil. These are the original GANs materials. You have forgotten your tradition. Now we explain you scientifically what it is. And so if these people, again where they used to burn the wood and the ashes spread in the right way on the land, they have the best fertilizer, which because of the porosity, the gap between the GANs and the nano layer, absorbs the nitrogen, and the nitrogen with a little bit of water, which comes from the moisture, will feed the plant. In the jungle areas, they knew what to do too. Do you want to translate?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Nos dice el señor Keshe que, primero que nada, nos quiere decir que es sabido que las gentes indígenas originales de Latinoamérica, del continente americano, tenían un conocimiento ancestral, que le podemos llamar, en el cual ellos se dieron cuenta que para sus cultivos, si ellos añadían ceniza cruda o de gran dimensión proveniente de la quema de madera, nos está diciendo, encontraban que había un resultado mucho mejor, pero que este conocimiento se ha perdido, como sabemos. Le voy a explicar al señor Keshe nuestra versión de por qué se perdió. Y que, sin embargo, ese efecto, ese hecho de usar las cenizas grandes, lo que hacía es que al quemarse la madera se generaba unas capas, unas nanocapas, y se producían también GANs, que al distribuirlo sobre la Tierra, estas cenizas que tenían esto, durante la quema habían absorbido nutrientes desde el aire directamente en el momento de la combustión, y que pues es equivalente a lo que hacemos al crear los GANs, que también se hace una reacción de calor. Si ustedes se acuerdan, en la creación de los nanomateriales se tiene que usar agua hirviendo, calor, para con la sosa cáustica crear los nanocomponentes que después pasan a ser los GANs. Que entonces lo que hacían los indígenas, los productores indígenas originales hace muchos años, era equivalente a lo que se puede hacer ahora. Con la nueva tecnología, nos dice, ahora el cultivo se hace buscando estas condiciones, que se llama el suelo negro, en donde está la fertilidad, vamos a llamar, la fertilidad está en el suelo, en este caso, y que es equivalente a lo que se puede hacer con los nanomateriales y los GANs, porque al entrar al suelo, estas cenizas se unen con un poco de agua, atraen el nitrógeno, y eso se vuelve el nutriente para las plantas. Esta es la explicación que nos da el señor Keshe. And yes, Mr. Keshe, well, I am familiar with why we lost that ancient knowledge, and I've been working on trying to recover that knowledge with the indigenous people, with the rural people, being indigenous or not. And it was because of the Monsanto effect, as you know, as you mentioned it, in which they wanted to sell the agrochemicals, and the foundations, the Ford Foundation, and other foundations from the United States took over the schools of agriculture, and they taught that technology, which made...
Which is to suit them.
This is what, excuse me?
Which was to suit them.
Oh, no. It is not to be sued. It is to be...
No.
He means to suit them. It suited them. It suited their purposes to have the educational system teach that.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have the power with offering the scholarship.
Listen, I mean, if you have access to the media, it's very simple. Go back and teach them. What I taught you in past 5 minutes can save your nation. Now you know why. It's been done for centuries. In Bolivia, it has been done for a long time. I tested this a few years ago in Belgium. We had like a meter by about a meter by 2 meters under a tree. Nothing will grow. My father-in-law tried for years. Nothing will grow there. Because we had a wood stove, I tried to burn a wood and a charcoal and a coal, and the ashes I spread over this land. The next year, it was nothing compared to the rest. I couldn't keep on cutting it because everything was growing there. Any seed was in the air was growing on that land. It works. You have to remind your culture, how the people what to do. It's a natural process. And then if you mix it, powder it, use it as insecticide to kill all the animals. Powder it into a powder, in a talc powder, mix it with water. You have fungus on the plants, you have animals on the plant, they die. They won't come back because they feel the strength changes. A plant, we were discussing this with Caroline past couple of days ago. She was telling me, you know, there's a huge problem with agriculture. She said the tree gets sick because it doesn't have the nourishment it attracts. It becomes food. If the agriculture people feed their plants, then it will not attract flies or fungus. And we were passing today, here we have a lot of vineyards. And she said, you see, they feed their wine trees, but they don't feed their olive trees. So they get problem with the olive trees because it's hungry. Hasn't been nourished for centuries. If you feed your plants, even with the charcoal, even you powder it and wash your leaves, the leaves of the plant which are infested with fungus or whatever, most of these will dissolve. And at the same time, put Monsanto's back in its place. Put the seeds in the charcoal a week, 2 weeks before you plant it. Genetic formation will be destroyed. It'll go back to its original seed the way it was before they modify it. You do not need the Keshe Foundation to give you what is already your national cultural asset. You've just forgotten, so we teach you. Put the seeds, which are controlled, to control you, in charcoal for a week, without water, and see how it grows. Because it sits in nanomaterial, any composition, latest modification will be destroyed. You free yourself from the tangles of what they've been done, then you have all the seeds you want. We've seen the same thing in Africa. They put so much free food as donation that it was not worth for the agriculturists to grow any food. And when the agriculturists, the farmers did not do the work anymore because it wasn't worth it, then they cut it. Now they bleed the nations. This is abuse of man by man. So you have the assets and you have all the woods in what do you call it, in the jungles. Burn, when you burn the woods, put it on the land. When you burn the wood, keep it, powder it, use as a natural process for killing animals, but put some by the tree that the tree becomes strong enough, absorbs nitrogen from the air to feed these roots, and then you don't even get the germs.
To be clear, Mr. Keshe, when you say killing animals, you mean tiny little animals like insects, I think, right?
Insects, parasites.
Right. Just to be clear, so people don't think you're out to kill animals.
No.
Because it probably wouldn't kill animals. In fact, charcoal is good for humans. People take it for gas, for intestinal gas and so on.
Let me explain to you. It doesn't kill the parasites. It changes the environment which is not good for them to live in. Because you change the field, the strength of the leaf. Even though you wash it, but there's still a small layer on the top, which changes the field that the parasites don't live on. You can do the same thing with the gans. Use the gans as what do you call it, as a spray for spraying on the plants to change the environment of the plants. You have no parasites. We are launching, sorry, you have to translate first and then I'll explain.
Okay, thank you, it's quite interesting. Nos dice el señor Keshe que lo que se tiene que hacer es recuperar ese conocimiento que tenía ancestralmente de cómo crear o cambiar el medio ambiente que se tenía, que se ha tenido con la agricultura química, con el uso de agroquímicos en fertilizantes e insecticidas que matan la vida biológica que se da en el suelo y que es la que da la fertilidad. Y que si se usa este conocimiento del carbón en varias formas, como vamos a ver, se puede recuperar la actividad de vida en el suelo y en el medio ambiente como para que la planta pueda desarrollarse en plenitud. Nos dice que en Bolivia él tuvo la experiencia de cómo en un suelo donde ya no se daba nada, porque pues sabemos que los agroquímicos matan la vida, y después de eso ya si no se le vuelven a poner agroquímicos, que es el gran negocio de las empresas fabricantes, pues ya no va a dar nada. Pero esa misma materia orgánica que se produce, esos mismos alimentos, ya no llevan una fuerza de vida, ya llevan una fuerza química, pero no la fuerza de vida que se tiene que dar con la vida de los animales, de los pequeños animales, de la vida microscópica del suelo, que es la que tiene que cuidarse. Y dice que con esto, usando el carbón quemado por los efectos que estaba diciendo antes, se puede recuperar la productividad, la capacidad del suelo y del medio ambiente, tanto para darle vida a las plantas como para evitar que estén lo que se llaman las plagas. Yo tengo claro que las plagas en realidad son las partes de la naturaleza, los elementos de la naturaleza que van a quitar las cosas que están muertas, que no deben servir. Y por eso atacan a las plantas que están creadas con agroquímicos, porque no tienen vida y hacen mucho daño. Entonces la plaga no es plaga, está quitando lo que nos sirve. Y cuando la planta sí tiene vida, la plaga no aparece. La plaga tiene su parte, tiene su función en la naturaleza, pero no se vuelve un problema. Y dice que no se necesita a la tecnología Keshe, la Fundación Keshe, para hacer esto. Que si se tiene acceso a los medios de comunicación, pues que se diga esto y que se reconozca que se tiene la solución de independencia de la dependencia actual de los agroquímicos y los costos enormes que benefician, esto no lo dijo él, lo digo yo, empresas químicas que fueron las que después de la guerra, yo sé, fueron las que decidieron hacer los agroquímicos e impulsaron las escuelas de agricultura, las tomaron con fundaciones Rockefeller y Ford, y hicieron que la única enseñanza que se diera fuera la de usar fertilizantes. Y eso fue lo que hizo que se perdiera eventualmente el conocimiento, porque pues ya no daba, lo que no lo usaba eso no tenía rendimientos para comprar los fertilizantes, ni siquiera para eso les daba, y dejaron la agricultura, dejaron los suelos, y es parte de la, digamos, condición trágica en la que está todos los países de Latinoamérica, o todos los países, también como en África, lo estaba diciendo, que cayeron en lo mismo por la intervención del interés económico de las empresas químicas. Ok, le voy a explicar. Yes, Mr. Keshe, we are aware of that. We are aware of the need to go back to the old knowledge. And
Let me
I
tell you,
myself.
this knowledge was given to you long time ago by friends.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we know about it, and I've been involved in that. I've directed an organization that was in charge of doing that, and we called it producer experimenter, because the people won't go back to those practices, even if you tell them. We will have to convince them, and what we did was that we would set up an experiment with them in 3 or 4 rows of plants and make the experiment so that they could realize that they had the solution in their hands and be independent. But that doesn't have any backup, and the knowledge is not.
Okay, let's back it up. Let's back it up. Let's back it up. Let's change the situation in a different way.
Okay.
You, the Keshe Foundation on the commercial side, which runs with Sohail in China, in the coming months will launch a new product. Because you're absorbing the CO2, and they said, okay, we absorb, what are we going to do with the CO2 we absorb? On the other hand, we had a lot of people who stay still with the Third Reich in Europe, and they want to have the space technology, otherwise they destroy everything around Foundation. They came and made a lot of hoo-ha with the governments that they tell these people to eat gans, it kills them and the rest. The only thing is the stupidity of these people is that Gans is not a fertilizer, it's a magnetic field, gravitational field entity. So, if you look at the CO2 kit, that you extract the copper oxide, or what they call it, CO2 from the air in a gas state, the Foundation in the coming weeks will launch a double layer container, or a plant pot, or a flower pot, where you can put the soil into the plant, into the pot, and grow your seeds. But in the double layer, you fill up with the water and gans. So you receive the energy of the gans without ever digesting the gans. So the new fertilizer is the gans. I said to you, we change everything piece by piece. So if you're a farmer in a big land, you have a water pipe. You find a small bucket and bury some soil next to it. In olden days, they used to bury dead animals like chickens or whatever next to a plant, a tree plant, because it used to absorb the energy from the gans of the body of the entity. Now you bury CO2 next to your plant. It's a fertilizer for the life of the plant. These are the applications of the gans which is coming in. You have seeds which is modified, put them in these trays for a day or two. Give the energy that the modification is returned, and then plant it as the way it was for centuries. We gave you the initial step, now you see the tool and usage. Teach people, even in the greenhouses, run a pipe along the plants, the way you run a pipe to water, run a pipe in the soil, and create a pumping system that the CO2 gans can pipe around. It runs for thousands of hours. You run a pump, because as the water passes through the root with the gans in it, the energy of the gans will be transferred to the plant. You have to understand how easy it is. This way, there is no contamination, there is no usage, there is no contact. You use your CO2 kit, you create CO2 condition absorption, and then you have what you're looking for. You absorb the energy of the fat on top of the container, put it inside the container in a bottle double-sided. then you receive the energy of the protein without eating the protein. You can feed the nation with these for years. It's a cup of life at a protein level.
This is great.
This is simple, effective, and moves people out of hunger position. You put, I see you showed plants in buckets. All it is to do, just get a Coca-Cola bottle, put some gas in it and bury it next to it and close the top. As long as that Coca-Cola bottle or a glass bottle is in the bottle, in the soil, it releases its energy to the root of the plant. You don't need fertilizer. And it takes as it needs. You find out a plant, let's say like a cauliflower. Cauliflower, let's say, needs calcium. You find a material to make the gans of the calcium, and which is very easy. If you don't know, I can tell you. Burn the bone of the animals. They become in a gans state. Powder it, put it in the liquid, and plant it next to your tree. Plant it in the line where you put your cauliflowers. A plant needs zinc, make a copper nanogans of it. In a plant next to a tree. The radiation goes for at least 3-4 meters. It covers the whole root of the tree. You want your tree to have a deeper root, you dig a deeper hole and you bury it at the bottom. That it doesn't come, the root doesn't come to the surface, that you don't get it uprooted with the wind and the snow, what do you call it, with the heavy rain. We open the door of knowledge in such a way that nobody can abuse nobody. It's your job to teach your nation what we tell you. You don't need to use fertilizers, CO2 gans directly on the root, that then you don't know what's the consequences. That foundation gives an excuse to the others. A field is a field interaction. Feed it, you absorb it. You want to translate?
Hello, Enrique, we can't hear you.
Excuse me.
Habits.
I turned off my microphone. You mean that we don't have to use, you don't have to use the gans either pure or diluted in solution of water and spray it or irrigate.
No, you put it in a container.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
You make a double wall, thin plastic. You put one bucket inside the other. And you put as much as you can. You receive the energy without the material that might cause what they call it, different properties. Because the root can only take what is built for. Root of a tree, root of a plant is like a magnetic field, gravitational field that extracts water. It creates the magnetic gravitation of the water and it absorbs itself in. It attracts, it's like a twinity, it attracts the other side in, it's a magnet of water.
Yeah.
It will not absorb mercury.
Oh no.
But because you create gravitational magnetic field, I told you to mix it with water. Because if you remember the gans in the reactors with the water, it changes the property of water to the gases. So now you make a magnet of water and the food next to the plant. What do you want to do? You absorb moisture from the air because of the water in the gans, and you absorb food, you feed the food with the same thing.
I thought the Coca-Cola bottle buried in the pot was a perfect example.
Yeah, but the Coca-Cola deteriorates the plastic. Best thing is the glass bottles.
Would give off some hydrogen, maybe extra energy for a while, but it might break the bottle and then the gans could get out, I suppose.
Yeah. This is the way you do it. Every piece of information technology we have given you, piece by piece, in past 12 months, Now it's coming together. Now you understand when we say you make a magnet of, you've seen how water changes its property from matter to a magnetic field status, a plasma. So you put a GANs in, you convert it, so now you have a magnet for the water, you have a magnet for the energy. If you can add nitrogen into the container, you can gansicize it, very simple, then you absorb nitrogen. But the thing is, the rain, when you absorb, it brings with itself nitrogen. If you add the fat on the top with the GANs in the bottle with the water, you already create gravitational magnetic field of nitrogen to absorb from the air. We are commercializing these in the coming weeks in China. Sohail is working on it.
Mr. Kesh, question.
Let him translate.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's,
It's a long time you haven't translated, so I'll go for a coffee and a tea. I'll be back.
ok. Dice señor Kesh algo muy interesante. Es una aplicación ya completa de los conocimientos, o muy completa, no total, pero muy completa de los conocimientos que hemos tenido de cómo se manejan los campos magnéticos, los campos gravitacionales, y cómo no es lo mismo tener la energía del plasma que tener la materia. En la agricultura pasa esto precisamente cuando se permite una aplicación como la que está por salir en China, en donde se tienen una doble cubeta, una doble caja, en donde en la cubeta de abajo está los GANs, y en la cubeta de arriba, que está encimita, adentro mismo, pero encima, está la tierra con las semillas. Entonces, la tierra y las semillas van a recibir los campos, precisamente energéticos, los campos magnéticos gravitacionales, que no directamente los GANs, porque aplicar los GANs directamente puede tener efecto en la vida de los animalitos que están ahí, que estábamos hablando, puede tener efecto en los animales que se acercan a comer las plantas, o puede tener efecto en quien se vaya a comer las plantas eventualmente. Entonces no se ponen encima, no se le aplica a la planta directamente, sino que se le van a aplicar las energías plasmáticas a través de esta superposición de dos charolas, vamos a decir, abajo los GANs y encima la tierra. También nos menciona la posibilidad, incluso en los invernaderos, de que junto al tubo que lleva el agua, o los tubos que están significando la disponibilidad de agua en las plantas que están ahí, se ponga un tubo más, un tubo que lleve los GANs. Y entonces las plantas en su crecimiento, en todo su desarrollo, a través de la altura de las raíces, porque las raíces son el diseño de la naturaleza para que desde ahí se puedan recibir esos campos. Entonces, las plantas van a absorber de esos campos todo lo que necesiten, no van a absorber lo que no necesiten. O sea, no hay manera de ponerle químicos que no le correspondan, que no sean de vida, solamente va a tomar las partes que le correspondan. ¿Qué necesita la planta? Nos dice, si lo que se tiene son coliflores que necesitan una disponibilidad de calcio, pues se le pone calcio, se hacen GANs de calcio, y que si no sabemos, él nos puede decir cómo hacerlos. Se hace con restos de animal que al morir se descomponen y se pueden incorporar a la...
Perdón, Enrique.
Sí.
Mira, sobre lo que dices de la producción de calcio para GANs, se hace de los huesos. Los huesos se queman y esas cenizas son GANs de calcio. O sea, ellas se mezclan en la tierra y traen la fuerza del calcio, y entonces te van a nutrir la planta. Adelante, Enrique. Gracias,
pero yo entiendo que se ponen en los propios GANs. Supongo que esos huesos tal cual se pueden hacer con ellos GANs de calcio.
la explicación del señor Queche es que los huesos se queman y al quemarse, pues lógicamente quedan en polvo y ese polvo es ya un gas de calcio. Y ese polvo te va a traer más calcio, como quien dice, a la planta. O sea, los antiguos también lo hacían así, lo mismo que con la madera, lo mezclaban con la tierra, ¿no? Cuando hablo del gas de calcio o el gas que se producía con el carbón.
Adelante, ¿quieres también explicar lo del zinc, y lo de el potasio y demás?
Perdón, ¿en qué parte quieres que intervenga?
Bueno, nos dijo que si la planta lo que necesita es zinc, pues se hacen GANs de zinc.
Ok. Sí, como todo el mundo sabe, pues es decir, todo el mundo sabe, no, al menos los ingenieros agrónomos lo saben, cada tipo de planta necesita ciertos nutrientes. Realmente o son zinc, o son nitrógeno, y son fósforo. Es decir, o sea, uno en vez de aplicar nutrientes de los que nos venden pues los químicos, se pueden producir GANs de las diferentes cosas. Yo nunca he producido GANs de fósforo, pero podemos preguntarle al señor Kecha ahora, recuérdame para preguntarle. Pero podemos producir el calcio. Ya sabemos cómo producir los GANs de calcio. Hombre, quemamos los huesos, los hacemos polvo y esos GANs nos van a traer.
Let me explain something. I understand your discussion. Sorry about that.
Thank you, sir.
You see the same process in the jungles with a fire. When you burn a wood, when there's a fire, they call it phoenix effect, that the new trees will grow out of the earth after the fire. That's why they burn it. The reason you get a better harvest, the reason you get a full flourishing wood, is because the ashes become nano material. Then, because of that, they absorb nitrogen and the right amount of moisture from the air. And the plant now has a full supply. It's not the ashes which becomes the food. The ashes become the magnet for nitrogen and the moisture. And then when you have a nitrogen and you have a moisture, which is the water, the H2 in radiation with the nitrogen is ionized to hydrogen, and the energy of the hydrogen in the plasmatic condition, if you speak about the matter state or you speak about the Gans state, will convert back into energy for the plant. That's why when you have a fire in forest, you get a growth immediately afterwards much better. Because the soil, the topsoil, which is the ash, will absorb the energy. If you turn the ash continuously, you will find continuously a new circle of life being added to it. There's no difference. Once you reach certain temperature, matter changes into a Gans state, a nano state. We call it the dust. You know this nobody understood the process, but that's exactly what happens. Ash, wood ash, because itself is protein Gans material, now it frees to a new Gans. And because in its body carries protein, so it's already a magnet for protein. When you burn wood, when you burn harvest on the top, the straws they burn, is not never understood. Protein in the straw of even let's say wheat is a nitrogen-based amino acid. Now you free the nitrogen to become the food in a nano state for the plant for the next harvest. This we know, but now we lost the knowledge. This is where the problem is. Now we understand the scientific purpose, the scientific way which happens. If you take the Gans of the materials, let's look at it a different way. In Holland, in the greenhouses, because we used to work with some tomato producers in Belgium and Holland, we know, They buy CO2 gas to inject into the greenhouse that the tomatoes grow better. Why? Why don't you put the tomatoes with the CO2 gas in the roots and they grow much better? And then you don't have to buy it. And then when you open the doors, the CO2 is gone because they had to let the CO2 out. Otherwise, the people who operate the greenhouses, they can't walk in, they all die. Why don't you put the CO2 in the root, in the channels that it feeds? Put the plant, the seed on top of the channels of where you put like water, where you run a pipe with the gans in it. And allow the gans to be mixed with the fat which it produces on the top, that it gives the right protein mixture to the root. Then tell us how it grows. I know how it grows because I've grown it. Seasons are irrelevant, the dryness of the environment is irrelevant, the temperature are irrelevant. You grow 12 months a year, 24 hours a day. There will be no hunger. You want to translate?
Yes, I will. Thank you for the note, comment. It makes it very, very clear. Now, yes, nos dice el señor Keshe que estábamos platicando, como ustedes recuerdan, Eric y yo, sobre si el calcio se añadía con los huesos en sí o como GANs, a través de los huesos, pero ya como GANs. Y nos dijo el señor Keshe, un momento, les quiero explicar algo. En realidad, la razón de la mayor productividad que se logra con la quema de la madera o con la aparición de quemar huesos o lo que sea, no es por la ceniza en sí, sino que esas cenizas son los nanomateriales de las sustancias, de los nutrientes que corresponden y al que le corresponden, y atrae. Entonces, el nitrógeno, la humedad, como si fuera un magneto de esas sustancias que toma y que cuando se pone con el agua, entonces se vuelven los GANs que son absorbidos por la planta. Este es el verdadero secreto. Lo practicaban los indígenas o las personas de las épocas más antiguas, pero no tenían esta explicación. Ahora con la tecnología y la explicación del señor Keshe, podemos entender cómo estaban funcionando toda la naturaleza con base precisamente en la existencia y uso de los nanomateriales y cómo los GANs son los que representan las energías que son las que alimentan los procesos. Nos dice, por ejemplo, en el suelo el topsoil, o sea, el suelo superior, es el que conserva los ashes y las cenizas, perdón, y esos que son nanomateriales, pues atraen, pero tiene un efecto a distancia. Nos acababa de decir que esto tiene efectos a 3 o 4 metros de distancia, ya sea como hacia arriba en la planta, en donde lo vayan a tocar a la planta, como también en el suelo. Entonces es el ciclo de ceniza, madera, ceniza, y en las selvas esto se ve como en los lugares donde hay incendios, en los lugares donde hay una quema de lo que se llaman a veces tlacololes, que la gente hacía un parche de selva quemada. Ese parche de selva quemada era fértil. Se podía sembrar ahí durante 1, 2 o 3 años y después se dejaba que se recuperara la selva. Esto lo conocemos, y la selva se recuperaba mejor en esos lugares. El problema fue cuando se hicieron demasiados grandes los parches y demasiado frecuentes, ya la selva no tuvo apoyo ecológico, vamos a decir, para regenerarse. Pero lo que tenemos que recuperar es este conocimiento perdido de cómo, y aquí Erick me puedes ayudar, yo no entiendo bien lo de los aminoácidos, cómo con la quema y todo esto se incorpora vida, eso es lo que yo entiendo en general, y eso es lo que se requiere. Solo la vida puede dar lugar a vida, eso es un principio de agricultura biodinámica, que usa energía, pero no de esta manera. Solo la vida puede dar lugar a la vida, y lo que estamos viendo con la explicación del señor Keshe es que lo que se está atrayendo son las formas que van a ser precursoras de la vida, como aminoácidos. Y eso es lo que hace que las plantas estén siguiendo un proceso natural y no artificial, como lo que se hace con la agricultura química y los fertilizantes y los insecticidas, que matan la vida en vez de incorporarla. Que nos cuenta es el señor Keshe, que en Holanda y en Bélgica él conoce que en los invernaderos se inyecta, se compra gas de CO2 y se inyecta, se pone adentro de los greenhouses para aumentar la productividad. También es conocido que para los bosques, cuando están bajos de vida, mal lastimados, se les distribuye polvo de roca caliza y reviven, toman una nueva fuerza. Estamos llevando el conocimiento del señor Keshe, el conocimiento de la tecnología Keshe sobre el plasma a todos los rincones, y esto en agricultura va a significar una dinamización muy grande de la manera, por un lado, la manera de atender el suelo y las plantas y su cuidado, pero también pues la productividad y lo más importante, que los productos que de ahí salen son productos naturales, no artificialmente crecidos, como ocurre en la agricultura de agroquímicos, que hace unas manzanas grandes, rojas, puros productos así grandotes, pero que están vacíos de vida, vacíos de energía vital. Pero en cambio, pasándole los GANs a todo el proceso, por un lado, y teniendo esa influencia, lo que vamos a tener es productos que estén más llenos de vida. Eso es lo que se va a poder lograr. Es lo que yo entiendo. Erick, ¿tienes algún comentario?
Gracias, Enrique. No, realmente los GANs, tú preguntabas ahora qué fuerzas traen los GANs. Cada material trae su propia fuerza. Cada material trae su propia fuerza. Por eso te explicó el señor Keshe, si usted quiere atraer, por decir, nitrógeno, entonces tiene que quemar, es decir, manejar GANs que atraigan nitrógeno. Si quieres, es decir, mantener un suelo bueno, pues tienes que darle las cenizas de lo que él mismo produce. O sea, le estás devolviendo otra vez su propia vida, como hablas tú, su propia vida al suelo. Recuerda tú que en los grandes sembrados de caña hace mucho tiempo, y que por muchísimos años se hizo, cuando se sembraba la caña, luego que se cosechaba, se quemaba todo lo que quedaba de residuo, y después se dejaba un tiempo, no sé, una semana, 2 semanas, ya que se asentara la ceniza, y después se pasaban los tractores para arar. Al arar, reintegraban esa ceniza al suelo, y siempre se hizo así. Quiero que le preguntes ahora al señor Keshe, al quemar los materiales no estamos creando más CO2, que ese fue el problema de por qué cambió la agricultura, porque en estos grandes sembrados de caña quemaban, y eso era pues una inmensa cantidad de humo. Lógicamente siempre la cosecha de caña era fantástica y era muy buena y con muy pocas plagas, porque se utilizaba así. Pero al cambiarlo, que empezaron, ya no queman en los campos, no queman nada, para evitar el humo y evitar la producción de CO2. Entonces, ahí tuvieron que incorporar los productos químicos para ayudarle a la tierra. Entonces, fíjate que ahí hay un desbalance que me gustaría que le preguntara al señor Queche, cómo funciona ese desbalance. Pues, nos obligaron a dejar de quemar porque producíamos CO2, pero le estamos metiendo químicos a la tierra para que ellos nos obligan a comprarlos. ¿Cómo es que funciona la cosa? Aunque quemar siempre se ha sabido que es la mejor forma. Adelante, Enrique.
Okay, Mr. Keshe, Eric is asking something very important. He says that he knows that in the sugarcane production, cultivation, it used to be done that they would burn the residuals after the harvest, and that was very good for the land. It would become again highly productive. But the question is, when burning this material, isn't the CO2 in the air augmented? Because that was the reason why it was forbidden for doing it, and they forced the producers to buy.
Okay. Let's look at it a different way. I understand your point. We didn't have the knowledge of the GANs up to now. Now we have. Let the plants which they say CO2 is released because of the burning, you can capture it. So there is no reason for it. There is no reason. If you can prove, this is part of the education in the university. We prove we can capture the CO2 which we move. We did that with the nuclear center in Belgium. 8% by mass of the nano layer is CO2. 8% by mass. Now that you can produce the gravitational magnetic field to absorb it, more or less 50% by mass is CO2. So whatever you put into atmosphere by burning, you can show you can retract and use it. They'll beg you to burn material, except if they don't want you to use fertilizers. They want to sell fertilizers to you, they ban you. The knowledge was different, now the knowledge is different. Now we have addition to the science. There is no reason for that.
I think also there's procedures now to make charcoal directly without having to burn it, or in effect. So there might be more ecological ways, you could say, of doing that job.
I have a very good say about these things and other things which we know has happened in past 10 or 15 years. This is why, as if you remind me, we'll talk about the leadership on Thursday morning program. Maybe we start with it. It's the failure of the leaders to serve their nations or their nationals. They serve more their bank accounts than the nationals. And that's where we have failed. That's the biggest failure with humanity. The leaders and the people in position of power have sold their souls and their nations to the bank accounts. And other things which goes with the pleasures of life. Otherwise, they can see the damage, because the strange thing is they themselves and their children and their offsprings eat the same poison which they promote. And if it's damaging the others, how are they and their family protected from it? This is the failure of the world leaders who have failed their nations and their nationals and the humanity. This is where we've gone wrong, and this will keep on going wrong, because now we have finished with Monsanto. Monsanto can jump as much as you people are alive, hundreds of thousands of people, just promote with the farmers what they can do. You cannot modify any more genes. impossibilities. At the same time, because you give so much fertilizer or energy, as you call it, fertilizer, directly to the root, you have bigger harvest than actually using fertilizers. This is where we've gone wrong when we put it right. It's going to be put right directly. It's the failure of the people who are put in position by us to look after us, and they fail to do so. So they have no position to be there. Do you want to translate and we stop? We are nearly past.
Thank you very much. Yes. Oh, important comment. Nos dice el señor Keche la pregunta que hizo Eric, de que si no se producen demasiado CO2 al quemar las plantas, y que esto se hacía como práctica común en los cañaverales al final de la cosecha, de la soca o la soca. Y nos dice el señor Keche, cambiemos el escenario, porque ya no había entonces el conocimiento de los GANs, pero ahora lo tenemos. Entonces, si se produce CO2 en la quema, pues tenemos cómo capturarlo, y va a resultar que por el uso tan productivo que le vamos a dar al CO2, en lo que estamos viendo tan solo en la agricultura, de aumentar la productividad, de la vida, pues nos van a pedir que quememos para poder capturar ese CO2, poder usarlo. Cambia completamente el panorama. Quizá aprendiéndole poco a poco, pero el principio es el importante. En el entendimiento que estamos teniendo de todo el funcionamiento de la naturaleza, en términos de nanomateriales, en términos de GANs, vamos a dar interpretaciones diferentes sin tener que llegar al manejo de la materia en sí, sino de los campos magnéticos gravitacionales, o que le llamamos energía plasmática. Nos dice, por ejemplo, que en los nanomateriales, un 5 a un 8% en masa de los nanomateriales es CO2. Y que esto pues explica cómo vamos después desarrollando los GANs de CO2. También nos dice Rick que una cosa para poder evitar esta posible contaminación de CO2 al quemar madera en particular son las nuevas técnicas que hay para, sin quemar la madera, hacer carbón, y entonces se tiene la disponibilidad del carbón como madera quemada sin haber creado la humareda con contenido de CO2. Todo se queda allá. Nos dice el señor Kese también que desde hace algunos años está más claro que nunca que los líderes de los países no están trabajando para servir patriotas, no están trabajando para servir a sus naciones, sino que están trabajando para servir a sus cuentas bancarias. Y esta pérdida de, vamos a llamarle moralidad, él no lo dijo así, Eric, tú me ayudas, esta pérdida del objetivo de lo que es ser dirigente de un país, es lo que ha creado toda esta destrucción, esta falta de raciocinio, esta esquizofrenia de las acciones que se toman en los países. Pero que a ellos se les olvida que aún si ellos se benefician en sus cuentas de banco, pues que también sus hijos van a comer de esos, también sus hijos van a estar en las condiciones que se les están creando en este caso. Y que, pues a Monsanto, por ejemplo, pues lo que hay que decirles es que ya no hay nada que cambiar. Que no se trata de inventar cosas inexistentes o cambios, que lo que hay que hacer es reconocer cómo funciona la naturaleza y aprovecharla. Eso no necesariamente les significa negocio, eso es cierto. Y ellos solamente quieren ver su negocio. Eric, por favor, ayúdame en esta parte.
Sí, mira, yo considero que para ellos puede ser un excelente negocio trabajar el GANS. ¿Por qué no va a ser negocio? Y para cualquier persona. Si nosotros trabajamos de la misma forma de que trabaja la naturaleza como trabaja el GANS, que trabaja como trabaja el universo, hombre, vamos a necesitar mucho GANS precisamente en el mundo para ayudarle a la gente y ayudar a las tierras y ayudar otra vez a que las cosas se vuelvan más naturales. Entonces también pueden aprovecharlo como negocio, pero no quieren cambiar. Ellos no quieren cambiar. La gente no quiere cambiar. ¿Por qué? Porque cuando te están presentando una cosa mejor no vas a cambiarla. Hombre, que hay que cambiar la infraestructura. Sí, hay que cambiar la infraestructura, pero una infraestructura que va a cambiar en beneficio de los propios hijos de ellos, de los hijos del mundo. Va a cambiar el mundo entero. Yo he visto aquí con mis manos, he hecho cosas increíbles, increíbles aquí en casa. He visto cosas increíbles pasar que dice un hombre, por Dios bendito, ¿por qué la gente no mira un poquito más en esto? Es hermosa, una tecnología hermosa y muy completa. Solamente hablando en la parte agrícola, es hermosa y completa. El señor Queche es un genio. Definitivamente el señor es un genio. Es un físico puro. Es un hombre con fuerza, con carácter, con honestidad, que quiere al mundo, que quiere al mundo con corazón. Y está haciendo todo lo que puede y está entregando todo lo que sabe lentamente para que la gente lo entienda, para poder seguir adelante. Adelante.
One moment, Rick, can you invite Gabriel Santoyo into the conversation? He is my son. He is the author of the proposal, and he is trying to and Gabriel Santoyo.
¿Le puedes escribir ahí en el chat el nombre, por favor?
Okay, well, I can translate what Eric said, which is very interesting.
Pregúntale, Gabriel, cuál es el nombre de él en Skype.
Okay. Es que si me salgo, si lo invito, me salgo.
No. Pregúntale cómo. Llámalo
No.
por el celular.
Enrique, you can actually send. Enrique can actually send you his contact. So all you have to do, Enrique, is go to Rick's contact in Skype and drag the contact you want him to have into the chat window, and it will provide him the correct contact.
Yes, I'm doing that.
Llámalo por el celular y le preguntas el nombre de él en Skype.
I already sent you.
Ok, ya, ahí está.
The first one, not the second one, I'm sorry. Gabriel Santoyo. The other one, not. Okay. No, we can drop it. I'm sorry, it went. I clicked twice, and I think it took the second one. Gabriel Santoyo, yeah.
Mientras tanto, puedes, si quieres, traducirle al señor Queche lo que hablamos.
Sí. Okay, Mr. Queche, I'm going to translate what Eric was mentioning, which is very interesting. Hola, Gabriel, espérame un momento, ahora vas a hablar. Mr. Queche, Eric said to comment on Monsanto not doing business with this. He said that Monsanto could do some business by producing GANs and selling them because there's going to be a huge demand for GANs in many applications, and even in the agriculture. It is his point of view. But he prices the technology. He says that it's beautiful technology, that he has made beautiful things at his home, at his house, and that it has a great potential. And he admires that and prices it. I do that also. But I have a different point of view that might be complementary. I think with very practical new kits, CO2 kits, we could go to the cultivators, to the people that is in agriculture, and give them, those who are in poor condition, give them the kit, and they themselves can produce the GANs they need in the amount they need in a community.
I told you this weeks ago. You woke up. Congratulations. Good morning.
Yes, I recall something about that. By golly.
Teach them even you don't need to go. Teach them how to do it, and they do it themselves. If they have a copper, if they can find copper, if they can find zinc, or find a copper and connect it to a wire that they can create, they don't need caustic or whatever. They can do it. We show you new ways to produce GANs and materials like this. In the coming time, now we start showing the application to affect the total human structure. I told you this, if you go back on the Spanish teaching, I said, you have radio channels, teach people what to do.
That's right, you said that. That's what I am saying.
Because they couldn't see. I was talking to Sohail a few days ago. He was in Tokyo. He says, we have to find this application for the CO2, for the GANs material. Now we open the application to satisfy Mr. Sohail. Because absorbing CO2 wasn't good enough for human race, was shouting and howling. CO2 is creating global warming. Now we freeze you and we feed you. We take all the CO2 out, you're going to freeze. You don't get warm anymore. But we show you how to feed yourself.
Well, here's the new angle, though. You're taking nitrogen out of the air, and one of the main pollutants in air pollution is nitrogen oxides. So maybe it's taking that form of pollution out of the air and creating plant material with it.
Good morning.
It's beautiful.
Don't tell them too fast, otherwise you won't be here.
Mr. Queche.
Slowly, huh?
Piece by piece, you say.
think Mexico City. Mexico City, one of the worst polluted air pollution areas of the world. And start a campaign of planting Coca-Cola bottles in the planters around the town for air pollution. No, something like that. But it could start a trend to be putting these GANs containers inside of all the planters, all the greenery around to help to help take out the nitrogen oxides out of the air even better.
Rick,
Mr.
let me
Ketchum,
tell you something.
I would like to add something because, yes, we're trying to, with Sohail to find out, well, I'm going to sell the CO2 kits, and what do I tell them? You're going to contribute to do this. Okay, fine. This is for conscious people and creating consciousness in people. But what do I do with the GANs?
Now there reason to do it. Now you know how to use the GANs. You know, there is an old say, if you show everything you have to the woman first, she won't marry you because she loves you. She marries you for the wealth, huh? Do you understand?
Yes.
So we had to show you they love us for the science. Now we show the rest of the dowry.
Okay.
Mr. Ketchum, I have one problem with the GANs production. I have found one problem always is the salt. The sea salt that I can get here in Germany is very bad salt, very bad sea salt. It's not a pure sea salt. When the people is in Mexico, in Colombia, they are inland, so they don't have access to this salt. What can
Any salt will do. Any salt will do.
Any salt.
We show you different salts. Let it happen. We show you more. Yeah, we show you how. Without the caustic, you made nano layers. We show you other ways you can produce it.
That'll be a good topic for another workshop. I think we should.
I think we got to come to an.
We got to end this, Erick.
It's nearly an hour and a half.
Yep, you've gone a half hour over your allotted time here, so we have to carry on.
Okay, but I wonder if you can put the slide where the CO2 kit and the GANs making is shown, and just to make sure that this would be the idea in principle, to teach how to produce them and give them the possibility, I mean the producers. Gabriel, who was here, doesn't like the injecting of the plant that the Chinese are showing in their place. Is it necessary to inject GANs for that experiment?
No, you just put next to it.
Yeah, I understood that. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
You see what happened? Sohail is here end of the month. We're going to sit and do some work in how to commercialize, how fast to commercialize. And then you buy additional units to add to your GANs unit to use for your house plant or whatever. We have to produce the processes for it.
What would be the doses of how much GANs per liter?
As much as you like.
As much as
the life of a GANs is the life of a star. As much as you like.
The life
but
of the
don't
GANs.
burn it, huh? Don't burn it. Don't overfeed. Same time add amino acid to it, then you have a fertilizer for life for the plant. Let's see what happens, how we're going to produce it, how we're going to process it. Because the energy transfer through certain plastics decomposes the plastic.
Okay. Well, if you agree, we will come back to this topic in the near future.
Do you want to translate? And then we can go. I say goodbye, you carry on translating. Thank you very much for your time, because I have a Skype appointment for other things.
Fine. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, I'm translating. What I'm going to do, we're going to ask in other workshops to listen to this workshop for especially our Chinese friends. Because we can't repeat everything else, people have to get used to going to different workshops. Like with the Chinese, we did the marine. Today we do with what do you call it, agriculture we do.
Well, it's interesting that we did go to agriculture, and that's how we started out with the Chinese. So.
Yeah, they moved out. Now we move, but they can use it. I tell you something. It's going to be an interesting time. Goodbye. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Mr. Ketchum.
El señor Ketchum se despide porque tiene que ir a otras cosas, pero traduzco lo último porque es muy interesante rápidamente. Nos dice que bueno, se habló de la sal. Eric preguntó si se podía usar otra sal, porque la sal que puede conseguir él ahí en Alemania no es muy buena. Y nos dice el señor Keche que se puede usar cualquier sal. Que esto va a ser tema de otro taller próximamente. Segunda cosa, le pregunté yo si se había una dosis de mezclar los GANs con el agua, o sea, de hacer la solución, en qué porcentaje. Me dijo que cualquiera, que no pongamos demasiado, no sea el GANs puro porque se quema, vamos a decir. No se trata de que eso suceda, pero lo podemos probar y lo podemos usar en las plantas de nuestra casa, lo podemos usar con este principio de la Coca-Cola bottle o del tubo que rodea un tubo de cristal o un recipiente de cristal que esté alrededor de la planta, sin ponerla directamente. La pregunta que hice fue específicamente para aclararlo, si se tenía que inyectar como lo están haciendo los chinos que aparecen en sus workshops, y nos dijo que no es necesario ponerlo directamente en la planta, que con ponerlo alrededor en un recipiente en donde estén contenidos, eso es lo que le da la vida a la planta. Y esto es todo. Eric, ¿tienes algún comentario?
Sí, mira, Enrique, respecto para que lo traduzcas también ahora en inglés para Ricky y ellos, respecto a una parte que dijo el señor Keche, la fuerza que tiene el GAN descompone algunos plásticos, como el plástico de la botella de Coca-Cola lo descompone con el tiempo. Lo mismo que el PVC también lo descompone porque le saca el cloro y va a dañar el GANS. O sea, no va a producir los efectos requeridos. Yo he hecho algunos ensayos, pero puedes decirlo para que él lo tenga Rick ahí para el próximo workshop. Hice unos ensayos con polipropileno, con una manguera de polipropileno, una manguera delgada de polipropileno. La llené con agua y GANS, lo normal que sale, pues, pero con no mucho GANS. Y la cerré en las puntas porque vienen los adaptadores esos para unir dos mangueras. Entonces hice un anillo completo y lo puse al lado de en la matera, rodeando la planta. Y me ha dado espectaculares resultados. Aparte de eso, el GAN no está tocando la tierra ni está tocando la planta, únicamente estoy utilizando la fuerza del GANS. O sea que el polipropileno no se degrada. El polipropileno es uno de los plásticos más resistentes a la degradación. Entonces puedes ponerlo en inglés también para que lo tengamos como tema para la próxima conversación. Adelante, Enrique.
Fine. This is Eric. Leaving this for you, Rick, for the next session, probably. That he has made some experiments that are very successful by using a little pipe of nanopropileno. I don't know how this is.
No, polipropileno.
Polypropylene, excuse me, not nano. Polypropylene. And this is a very strong plastic. And he just filled it with water and some GANs and closed it at both ends. And they put it around the plants. And the results were extraordinary. The plants responded greatly.
That's great. Okay, we're going to end the workshop now. So let's say goodbye. Everybody say goodbye.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye for now.
Okay, thank you for all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Enrique. Bye.
Thank you.
Enrique, nos vemos.